Standing Sentinel, a story told over media. Chapter 3, Episode 1, Hero, Termination Day. Hero saw it coming, not out of the corner of his eye necessarily, for he was hardly paying attention to the old visigram projected right in front of him. But he heard his mother's dumb dog, Popeye, make some noise he hadn't heard before, somewhere between a bark and a whine. He usually ignored the dog, too, always underfoot and seeking affirmation, which his mother was all too keen to provide. Most everyone made comments about the dog. They usually looked away as they spoke to each other, but nobody held their voice low enough to protect the message. How can they keep that dog when there isn't enough food for the people in the sanctuary? Ferme! He yelled at Popeye in Schwa. More whining. Arrête! Hero remembered that his mother only spoke nation to the dog, so he asked the mind to give him the equivalent word. Shut up! He yelled in nation. More whining. Was it pleading? Hero wasn't quite paying enough attention to tell. He picked up a pillow and threw it at Popeye, then threw a cup, and then a shoe that had been on the floor next to him, which connected with the dog's tail and brought temporary silence. The sneer on his pale face released, and he settled his plump body back into the huge blue sectional sofa. He turned back to the visigram just as the scroll started over. There were fewer grams to access now, and somehow the controller had been smashed to pieces a few span ago. Now, there was a message in stark red letters displayed over the scroll, which was weird, but everything on the Visi had been getting worse all month. By the time he asked the mind to read the message to him, the red letters were gone. Hero forgot about it. Popeye's whimper recaptured his attention, and Hero threw another cup at him. It's not like he could make the house any messier than it already was. Since Butler's SSB had died 2 span ago, everything had fallen into disarray. Hero's sleep pod was the only flat surface in the whole place that wasn't covered with food vessels, or a shapeless mix of garbage and household items. Stupid dog. Hasn't stopped whining since Mom and Gren left. But only a second later, Popeye started up again, and finally Hero noticed the sharpness of the tone was wrong. If he had listened more carefully, he probably would have described it as the sound of fear, the timbre of panic. But he didn't. He stopped running his wide fingers through his freshly trimmed rust-colored hair, and his beady green eyes scanned for something else to throw. A depot box on the floor right next to him. Hero reluctantly pushed himself into a seated position to grab it. And that's when he saw his mother's copter through the glass wall, spiraling recklessly toward the roof over his head.